So our first tip to a safe and respectful classroom is to partner with parents and guardians. Keeping parents and guardians in the loop about what's going on within your classroom will establish a positive partnership. Consistent communication both ways allows both parties to address any issues promptly and collaboratively. Communication can be done face-to-face, in meetings, in parent-teacher conferences, over the phone/email, or during newsletters sent home that can talk about different learning material happening within the classroom events, and even classroom disturbances.
The second tip to keep a safe and respectful classroom is to always be fair, calm, and consistent. If you are consistent with your expectations and your rules, then students will know what is expected of them at all times, which will lead to a higher chance of them following those expectations and rules. If you're inconsistent with enforcing your expectations and rules, students may not know what is expected of them, and therefore that may lead to them breaking the rules or expectations, which then leads to an unsafe classroom environment. So it is very important to always be consistent with what you expect for every single student in the classroom and for all of the expectations.
Okay, tip number 3 is to build a community. Giving students a voice in the classroom and allowing them to share their thoughts and ideas will build that sense of trust. Creating that safe and welcoming environment will make sure students feel connected and develop a community in your classroom. A great way to practice this is by including discussions and hearing from your students and letting them hear from each other. An example of this would be math talk during your math lessons. Students can share and learn from each other and investigate each other's thought processes and learn something new. But this comes with zero judgment and respecting each other's ideas. Also listening to parents and giving their feedback will just help develop that sense of community.
So tip number 4 is creating a routine. This is where you create a routine within the classroom that practically stays the same every day. When the routine changes or has no regularity, this is when behavioral problems could occur. This helps create an environment where students know what is going to happen every day and creates a safe place within the classroom and with classroom regularity. Consistency will help with behavioral problems and help students feel socially, physically, and emotionally safe, and letting students know ahead of time when the schedule will change will also help with behavioral problems that could occur.
All right, so for number 5, we have keeping it real. As a teacher, students do not like being talked to as if they're beneath you. They want to be treated as if they're similar, on the same page. They don't like being talked down to. So one of the best things you can do as a teacher is being real and authentic when talking to your students. No matter whether you're congratulating them or dealing with a behavioral issue, talking to them as if you guys are on the same level is always going to make them react better, because students know when you're faking your personality. Like, kids can pick up on that, and when they pick up on that, there's no relationship that can be created. So with that being said, being real and treating students as if they're on a similar level to you will create an environment where respect is everywhere between you and them, but also between them themselves as peers and students together. But it also creates an environment where everyone learns how to treat people and how people need to be treated and what things to do and not to do.
So the 6th tip to making a safe and respectful classroom environment is to promote inclusivity. Making your classroom an inclusive environment where every student feels welcome and accepted. You should celebrate all types of diversity and promote understanding among students about different races, cultures, ethnicities, sexualities, etc. Ways to promote inclusivity might include knowing your students and the different backgrounds they come from, using language that is gender neutral and considerate of all students' gender identities, diversifying your learning material by considering different authorships, including different ethnicities, genders, and even geographic locations. Try inviting guest speakers and even introducing new media like documentaries and TED Talks. And the last tip that I had is to set high expectations for your students. Make sure that there is a zero tolerance environment for bullying within your classroom.
Tip number 7 for keeping a safe and respectful environment is to know the students you teach. One of the most important things when being a teacher is creating a relationship with your students, because that builds trust, and in turn, if students trust you as a teacher, they'll be more likely to want to do work for you or to want to follow the expectations and the rules of the classroom. Building a relationship and trust goes a long way in the classroom. It can help students form a positive attitude, and they'll be more willing to follow the expectations for you, which in turn will create a safe and respectful environment in the classroom.
Alright, and tip number 8 is having good classroom management. Having efficient classroom management makes every day just go a little bit smoother for the students and the teachers. This ensures that students know what to do in any everyday situation. For example, when students need supplies, they know exactly what to do, where to go, and how to return back to their seats, just because their teacher is well organized and taught them what to do. Another example is using the restroom. It keeps them from disrupting the classroom because they know where to go and how to respectfully leave the classroom.
So tip number 9 is acknowledging good behavior. This is where students are being acknowledged for their good actions, their care for their peers, their teachers, and their environment, and the students will feel more willing to continue the actions, and most likely the rest of the classroom will continue, follow along with the good actions. Keeping consistent with acknowledgement of good behavior will help with classroom management and keep the classroom a safe space. Some examples are verbal affirmations with the good behaviors, physical rewards like extra recess, lunch outside, and extra brain breaks, and giving rules based on behavior like line leader, paper collector, etc.
Alright, so for this one, number 10, we have including students in creating rules, routines, and consequences. Including students in activities such as creating rules, routines, and consequences makes them feel more grown in the classroom, whether they're kindergartners or 12th graders. They're much more likely to follow those rules and hold each other accountable at the same time. Including students with that stuff creates a standard that not just the teachers set, but they themselves are setting. So that again just goes back to them holding each other accountable rather than it being the teacher's job. It just makes everything that much more important to them. Like I had a teacher when we did this the second semester in one of my classes in middle school, because our class was a problem in the first semester, and the moment we created the rules, everyone started following. Like there was a very quick turnaround, and it just helps make things so much simpler and helps the teacher at the same time.